Okay, our next person we're going to ask to read is Robert Dean.
Hi, everybody.
Hi, Robert.
Good to be back again.
Glad to see you again.
Get to visit New York, at least virtually. It's a nice sunny day here in Augusta, Kansas. We're about 70 degrees. Sorry to report that to the person from Vermont, but
nice to know.
I'm going to read a piece from my second book, which is a completely ekphrastic book. Title is The Aerialist Will Not Be Performing, and the art here on the cover is actually the art that goes with the piece I'm going to read.
Beautiful.
All the work, all the pieces in the book are written to paintings by the same artist, who is Stephen Schrader, lives in Chicago. We met several years ago and I just fell in love with his art and wrote 42 works to it. So I'm going to try, I don't know if I can share a screen, not being a host here, but I'm going to try it, or a co-host.
Yes, you can.
Yeah, okay, can you see that? It looks just like the cover of the book. Okay, that's the art for this poem. And the title of Steve's art is The Arc Between Two Deaths 5. And The Arc Between Two Deaths was developed by a 20th century choreographer named Doris Humphrey, who developed a theory called fall and recovery, which was also known as the arc between two deaths, and has to do with modern dancing from the early 20th century. The poem is called Fall from Grace. As I looked at this, and I just saw somebody splattered on the ground there, so. I need my good glasses for this. The aerialist will not be performing tomorrow. The aerialist will not be performing next week. The aerialist will not be performing a second act. The aerialist has fallen, gracefully but fallen, splattered gracefully, gracefully smeared blood across the carnival floor. The aerialist has fallen, whether from tightrope, trapeze, matters not. What matters is the plunge, the graceful arc of it, the head firstness, the absence of scream on the way down, the acceptance that, yes, the alternate reality is no longer alternate. The aerialist has fallen again. The aerialist never uses a net. The aerialist dies a little each time. This is the reality of alternates, but we can learn from the aerialist. The aerialist has fallen despite studying with the flying Walendas, Doris Humphrey, the Dalai Lama. The aerialist will fall again in the next reality, no alternative. Need we not cry out in horror? The aerialist lives to fall, strings death to death, the wire of grace, reaches for the bar of heaven, existence to existence. The aerialist reads Nietzsche on the way down, gracefully turning the pages of Also sprach Zarathustra, which has been extracted from blue leotard waistband at the first slip of foot hand. The aerialist only captures a few words, maybe a sentence before time runs out. The next fall, a few more. The aerialist is anxious to see how it ends, this paean to eternal return, how it can be merely physical, sans samsara. The aerialist is skeptical. The aerialist has much experience with falling. There is a beauty to it, a skill. In the last instant, a suspension of time and space, a feeling of falling into grace, as if being born especially for this moment, this arc, this death. The aerialist will be performing in the next reality under a big top near you. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Yeah, if I can exit share screen here.
I think I got you.
Okay, thanks.
All right, great. That was really cool. Thank you so much for that.
Oh, thank you.
Emily Sue Sloan, would you please read for us?
Hi, thank you so much. I'm really enjoying this reading. Thanks to all the featured readers and open mic folks. I have a brand new book that's just out now, but I'm going to read you something that's not in the book, called Glacial Change. Great rivers of jagged ice carve wide, winding swaths of blue and white into mountainsides green with nothing but spruce trees reaching for the sky. The sun paints the facets in gray shadow, revealing the depth, the weight of millennia's packed snow, moving in a slow journey visible only to time and careful observers. Pilots who fly over daily, and forest keepers who return each summer to the camp with a view across the lake to where the icy blue ribbon has halted abruptly, resting on a mound of silt and mud. Like skaters skidding to a stop at the sight of water lapping beneath thin ice, they warn the glacier is no longer advancing, is in fact retreating at a pace that runs counter to its name. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Babette, if you could tell us a little bit about yourself and where you're from and read your poem. If you could unmute yourself, please. Okay, there you go. Now we have you. Now, where are you from?
I am from New York City. I was a high school teacher, an English teacher, and I left for the best possible reasons. I was having my children and I thought they needed a little more attention. So most of my children became teachers themselves. So I think that's pretty good.
Awesome. Well, welcome to Poetry Street, and we're looking forward to hearing you read.
Thank you. So one of the poets alluded to a bomb, the atom bomb, Hiroshima. And I had a very jarring reaction to that because in fact, poetry to me is more powerful than reality. So this is my reality. Some kill with bullets. Some kill with bullets, some with propulsive bombs, some destroy with wicked lies, each in a different way harms. Some with deliberate edicts, some with whispered spite. Some enjoy rancor and enmity, or malice in a fight. Some toy with razors, some compete with knives. Some profess their innocence while they target other lives. Here a family once endured, then vanished without defense. Here an entire people slaved, finding no recompense. The world is a smoldering graveyard, and history a morbid tome. And all we can do is speculate in the confines of a poem.
Very good. Thank you so much. Now we still have some people signed up for the open mic, and we will get to them. But I just want to also point out there are some people that just have their names, and I just want to see if they want to read, and if not, just say pass. Megan Dosh, would you like to read? Hi, Megan.
I'll read. This is Megan. I'll read.
Okay, great. By the way, Megan, do you have a photo or a video?
Oh, sorry. I thought I didn't realize it wasn't on.
Yeah, and also M-Day2, M-Day2, you're going to be next if you want to read. And if you could just turn your camera on. Thank you. All right, thank you so much. You may read now.
Okay. This is called Harvey's Hues. The call came a cool breeze on a humid day, strands of relief tangled with surprise. We may have a match for you, the woman's voice said. The woman said, her voice lotion on winter skin. I wanted you, I needed you, I didn't want to need you. You wouldn't guide me the same way. You wouldn't read my jumbled mind. I wasn't ready to create a new language of movement all our own. I wouldn't know your habits. Your predecessor was tired. He deserved a rest. He gave everything to me, so I said yes to you. I promised you my best to not compare yesterday's creation to today's unwoven yarn. I untwisted my hopes into the velvet shell of your ear. Your head resting on my knee, waiting. I hoped my long threads of dreams would sustain us over the bumps. I feared our speeds wouldn't match. I wanted to power walk. You were too concerned about the cracks in the sidewalk. You showed me through your quiet persistence, hidden roses along the journey smell sweet. Sometimes we dropped a stitch, miscommunicated, we tinked, reversing our steps, breathed the bright air together to continue our weave. I groom you to a gloss. Your gold surrounds me, reverence for the unfolding present and hope for the and gossamer hope for the future hope float. I reach down to stroke your silky head. You press your paw on my foot. Touch the language that reassures us both. We are weaving a new tapestry together. Thanks.
Thank you so much. That was awesome. Megan, where are you from?
I'm from Long Island, New York.
Okay, well, thank you and welcome to Poetry Street and hope you return.
Yeah, thanks. Good to be back. Yeah.
Evelyn Kendall. Oh, hi, Evelyn.
Hi. Yeah, I would like to.
Okay, great. If you could turn your camera on, that'd be great.
I got a problem. It keeps turning me off and I don't understand why. So I'll just read really fast.
Oh,
And,
okay. All right. Thanks, Evelyn.
so if I keep coming and going, you know what happened.
No worries.
This was a poem that I just read. I just wrote it on Thursday as I had been invited to a close friend's to have hors d'oeuvres at her Thanksgiving dinner. So off I went and I wrote this. Thanksgiving 2021. I have nothing to offer. As I come to your door, I come with empty hands, carrying not a thing more. Thank you for your open hands and invitation to join the fate. I come with a somber heart, enlivened by your kind date. Friendship's a delicate thing, holds the most wonderful gift. How lucky I am to share it with you, to our mutual benefit. Rhyming's not my thing, you know, but sincerity I definitely tried for. Please accept my simple offering, then pass the shrimps once more.
Lovely. Thank you so much. Thank you so
Okay,
much.
thank you.
All right. Gladys Henderson is one of the mothers of Poetry Street. She's an amazing poet, and she's also on one of our episodes of Poetry Street on the road.com. So Gladys is on Poetry Street on the Road, the film, as well as some of the episodes. Please check her out on Poetry Street on the road.com. Gladys Henderson.
Yes, thanks so much. And what a wonderful reading for today. I mean, I knew that it would be wonderful, but it's just wowed me is the only word for every single one of them. Thank you so much for being able to be with us today. I chose today to read a poem because it was asked for me to read. And my brother and I used to come up over from New Rochelle to Northport to Macklemore Beach when I was quite young to go dig clams for Christmas chowder. And as the next time we're going to meet, it should be after Christmas, right, Chip?
Actually,
am I right? Wouldn't it be after Christmas?
You're absolutely right. We will not have a Poetry Street for December, but we will have one for January. But please check your emails because we'll be sending some announcements out to all of you. And if you're not on our email list, please email me at chip@poetrystreetontheroad.com. Thank you.
That's great. That's great. So this is a poem called Clams for Christmas Chowder. In a room above my head, I hear my brother. He has dressed himself in fleece-lined pants and orange flapped hat. I hear him first in stocking feet and then in heavy waders, pacing with impatience, waiting for me. I know this is a special day and dress quickly soon. With some deliverance, we will walk the snow edge of Crab Meadow, crossing over icy rocks, hung with the snapweed of summer. The gatherers before us will be few. It is very cold, and words spoken hang as frosted pearls before they crash themselves against the brine. The day before Christmas, and I have clothed myself as a pilgrim and walked by my brother's side, yellow bucket in hand, the sound of steel against rock and the suck of black mud as it yields to the fork. Quickly, I pick the sweet clams in their blue-gray shells, quickly, before the sea finds its way to the hole and reclaims its children. It is here, in the rhythms of pitchfork and shovel, that I learned to hear the stillness of time and join the gatherers before me, harvesting memories and clams for Christmas chowder. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I'm hungry, 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 hungry.
Yeah,
I-
clams for Christmas chowder.
All right. Gigi Spungen is another one of our former features of Poetry Street, and she is amazing. Gigi Spungen.
Set me up, Jim.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So I want to thank Jill, Zilka, and Bill for just a wonderful, wonderful reading. And of course, the open mic is always fascinating. I was going to read two, but I'm just going to keep it slow because a lot of people. And timely, this is called Post-Thanksgiving. Viscous pretense, drag feet through a syrup that covers my eyes, yet lets in the light. Beads of it curl around my fingers, questioning their fate to lick, wash, rub, damned sweet stuff, clogging vision, stemming tides of brilliance, a cry from deep inside the jar, a hum of bees out of season, golden drops of sunshine sweetening the pot. A rainbow takes off. I follow, running from bees, running toward water, the cleansing, opening movement, a symphony to freedom from the sheer torture of too much sugar. Thanks.
Thank you so much. I'm going to ask one more time if Alexis Matters would like to read. And if you would, please unmute.
Sure, I can read something. Yeah.
Okay. And how are you, Liz?
I'm doing pretty good. It's an interesting Saturday. So I'm going to read a poem I wrote for my poetry class last semester. I'm sorry?
By the way, do you have a camera?
Yes, but I did not give Zoom access to it right now, and it would take me a little bit to get
Okay,
it.
no problem. No problem. Go ahead and read, please.
Okay. And I specifically wrote it due to the assignment after the Pokemon character Nihilego. So this was interesting to try to write. I reach into myself, a barrel of blinding light pushing toward her. I can't see her. She's hiding. She must be planning, an angry, annoyed, wrathful warrior waiting to strike. She usually sleeps, but she chose to strike today, extending her claws and tearing away at the person, barely leaving anything in her wake before returning to her lair. I'm surrounded by her when I find her. She seems to be darkness, but she's me, made of anger and harsh temper. I reach into that empty light, and take her cold hand. I hold it tight as she attempts to pull away, anger in every movement. My love, my dear darling darkness, sleep. All is safe. No harm will come to you. She does sleep, but I know it's only for a short time. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for that. Where are you from?
I'm from New Jersey.
Okay, well, welcome, and I hope you come back to see us
Thank
again.
you.
Thank you. Hiram, would you please, Hiram, tell us, how do you pronounce your last name and where you're from?
Yeah, I'm Hiram LaRue. I'm from Maryland, and it's good to be here this evening, early evening with Poetry Street. I enjoyed the three features, and Chip, appreciate you hosting. This poem is all about, it's basically about the wonder that we often call adolescence. I should mention that long ago, when I was a teenager, apples were sold in wooden bushel baskets. You may remember that. The poem first appeared in North of Oxford and is in my most recent and very recently published collection. It's titled Tin Roof. When I was 17, apples were busheled in baskets, and I was the straw under all of those red round spirits. All the light coming down through the shed's beams was slanted across them, and every wasp in the world hovered just above them. Yes, whatever apples were, I wanted to be. And in a way, when I was 17, apples ate me. What was to become my heart was really some wild, weedy rose in the orchard back then. And any sheen reflecting off their skins or the barn's tin roof was all that I wanted to be. When I was 17, with every seed buried deep inside, even my gangly gaze was humming. And somehow I knew before tasting anything tartly sweet that that was what I wanted to be right there in the baskets. Thank you, Chip.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Ralph Nazareth, if you would please read. And then now.
Just a minute. I'm trying to print something out.
Okay,
Just
no problem. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go to someone else and then I'll come back to you. How about that?
Okay, that's fine.
Okay,
Thank
I
you.
want to go to another feature from Poetry Street, Barbara Branca. She was amazing, and she was one of our features on Poetry Street some months back, and here she is now. Barbara, thank you, and tell us where you're from.
I live in Shoreham on the North Shore of Long Island, but I'm originally a Brooklyn babe.
Yeah, all right.
So I was going to read some. Well, do I have enough time to have
3
fairly
minutes.
decent length? Okay.
3 minutes, please. Thanks.
Right. You know what? Then I won't do that. I know it seems to have gotten longer. So I'm going to do kind of a Long Island winter poem.
Oh, awesome.
Okay. And also the features, Jill and Zilka and Bill, thank you so much. And these are wonderful. And some of the people have read for the first time. Kudos. December Dandelion. The last winter solstice at the beach house. A final sunrise over Shinnecock. The sand shifting as we've lived, loved. Gulls cry over those lost. Farewell to kayak, chowder, and the striper. Bayman, scientist, and the Jell-O shot maker. Dredgers silently nourish a beach ravaged by storm. A neighbor noisily builds a better bulkhead. The salt water killed the pines, and the song sparrow no longer trills at dusk. But tall Phragmites still wave triumphant as eelgrass and scallops return to the bay. A dazed fly buzzes past dancing rose hips, and a dandelion bright with December sun.
Ah,
Thank you
just
all.
beautiful. Thank you so much for that. Okay, now we're going to go back to Ralph Nazareth.
Okay, thank you. I don't know your name. I'm
My
sorry.
name is Chip. My name is
Okay,
Chip
Chip.
Williford.
Okay, I'm a friend of Zilka's, and
Oh.
I'm so sorry. I missed it. Now I assume that there is a theme, right? Some food theme, probably.
Actually, the theme is whatever you want.
Okay, okay. Here's something. It's called Genesis a la carte. In the beginning, there was only limitless bounty, no void. The face of the deep was bathed in light, light universal and eternal. And she, ever awake, said, yes. Let there be, she said, pork, asparagus, shrimp, carrot on veggies, day and night. Morning broke, day two. She tossed a salad for the ages, kale garnished with white pearly seeds. It was good. She said it was very good. Day 3, 4, 5 passed in quick succession, all good. She said, let me see, how about sausage and potato with broccoli? Done. Meatloaf now on Jerusalem artichoke. That too. Well, she said, this is good. So let it be. I'll make the bread rise with beer, she said on a whim. Save yeast for another epoch, she was thinking all the while, constantly perfecting creation. It was her thing. It was all good, she said so. She said so. Aeons came and went. She still had a Julia Child apron on. By now we had lost count of the days and nights. Italian sausage on sun-dried tomatoes came next. And finally, the pièce de résistance, smoked salmon with pasta, broccoli, and peas. There, she said, I'm finished. She sat sipping all day, soursop tea, mushroom tea, bitter melon tea. She switched to plain green tea for a change of pace, then back to the exotic organic yerba mate and cinnamon rooibos. Having slipped her apron off, she reached for one last guilty pleasure, a crisp spring roll and 3 lightly spiced chicken wings. Coffee?
No, I want a plate. That's what I want. Mindy Cronenberg is one of our features on Poetry Street on the road as well. Mindy Cronenberg, we're so glad that you made it, and please read for us.
Thank you, Chip. And one of the things I've been thankful for is Poetry Street and all of you, and glad I could slip in here. I was explaining to Chip earlier, I'm down in Florida. I'm taking mementos from my recently deceased father's condo. And I came across many things that I gave to my parents over the years. And one of them was a poem that I had no idea they framed.
Wow.
Yeah, from my first book. So I thought I would read that in honor of my dad. Circular motion. The love we always had is based in the round. The warm grasp of your hand in mine as we made our way to the playground. The circular motion of the swing as you wildly pushed me against the will of the earth. My lenses curve to the same cockeyed rhythm as yours, and our teeth bend towards each other with the same mad crunch. Before I was born, you and Mom would whirl through our tiny flat to modern music, eyes closed in an ecstasy that could prove godly or dangerous. I picked up the song in my blood, embraced the old records on our monograph player, and tossed myself around the room in the same fierce spirit. Together, We watched cowboys on TV raise lassos high over their heads, and you taught me how to ball my fist against the angular threat of anyone. Most of all, I remember the wheels of my bike spinning as you ran alongside me until your hands allowed a curve of space to cushion the bar and let go. Your shouts became smaller and smaller, the words bouncing back to me after all these years. You can do it. You can do it. Thank you.
Wow, that was beautiful, Mindy. A beautiful tribute. I wrote this from the perspective of a woman who has a child and a husband. It is set in Coosa County, Alabama. Coosa County is not part of the Black Belt. The Black Belt is part of Alabama where the soil is black. Coosa County and many other counties, the soil is red. This is entitled The Heat. I love the sound of the rain hitting against our tin roof and the familiar smells from near and far away. Livestock, freshly cut grass, and red dirt as the rooster thrusts his feet before he crows. And lo, I delight in the refreshing touch of the visiting breeze against my wanting sticky skin. I gently and slowly lifted my husband's hairy, heavy arm off me, and I just quietly laid there naked and free. As I bid farewell to my welcoming guests, and as the harsh breath of the ripening summer morning overcame my body, I thirst for the visitor who left too soon. I close my eyes and imagine wading in that little stream that flows far beyond the fence and the weeping willows that refuse to move its branches in the still, humid air. I hear my baby wrestling in his bed. I pour a little water in the basin, wet my lips, and patted a bit of water upon my breast before sliding into my gown. Yes, the little pink one with the pretty little flowers on the pocket. I quietly walked barefoot across the floor and peeped in on my sleeping child, looking like an angel sent directly from Almighty God to fulfill my purpose of being. He is beautiful, soft woolly hair, long legs, and beautiful dark skin like me and his daddy. I put on my boots at the front door and walked out to fetch the eggs and feed the sows from the pen. Look at them. They're just waddling in the mud, pushing and nudging their snouts against the trough and each other to get their portion of food. Life seems so simple for them. They look happy in a pit of mud and slop and a few ears of corn. The little ones are the cutest as they climb over and fall and crawl around each other. I always sprinkle big handfuls of feed on the opposite corner behind those greedy pushy hogs, just so the little ones can eat. My husband is almost fully awake when I return. My gown is wet and clinging to my skin. He pulls me close to him by my waist, grabs the basket of eggs, places them on the table, kisses my neck, and leads me back to our bedroom. He lifts my gown, peels it off, and kisses my breast. His soft tongue circling feels so nice, and I forget all about the heat and welcome him in as gratefully as the morning visitor. He moves smoothly, slowly, touching my soul against my wall. I feel him as he comes. And just like the visitor, leaving too soon and leaving me wet, sticky, and feeling the heat of another hot summer's day. Thank you. Okay, so now, thank you so much. Thank you. Now we would like to bring our features back. First up, we would like to bring Jill back. Jill Wilcox.
So I have a poem that I wrote this summer when I was doing the Southampton Writers Conference with Maggie. It's called Siga Siga, Traveling at 22. Every village had several cafeteria, where men with prickly chins and a handful of teeth, wearing wool vests and trousers equally prickly, sat around an ancient stove most of the day and played tavli, while the women were at home with dulia. where I studied every morning and in the evening fueled my adopted language with local wine, aged in pine, smelling and tasting of turpentine, said to be good for you, and ate foods with names like Tarama salata, Melachana salata, Galatiborico, where a policeman warned my new boyfriend, Kostas, for kissing me on the street, where on this island of bicycles, we rode to the temple ruins of the Asclepian and to the sycamore tree, whose branches reign over both history and geography, where Hippocrates, father of medicine, taught 2,400 years ago, where village women carried their pans of moussaka or spanakopita to a shared oven at the bottom of our neighborhood hill, where I stayed up Easter Eve to declare Christos Anesti, Aletheia Ine, and drank lamb's blood soup at a whitewashed villa by the sea, where one night after closing hours, a taverna owner whipped up omelets for us soaked in olive oil with crispy potatoes, tomatoes, and feta cheese, where the whistle of the ferry brought eager villagers to the docks to hawk their dormides and throw their arms around returning loved ones, where all I needed were my 2 rooms by the sea, a well, a hole in the ground toilet, and a screened box for storing food, where my workspace was a wooden table with a dictionary and a journal, where every morning Parasco brought me Turkish coffee and a chunk of coarse bread for dipping before heading out to join his pals for Tavli, until one day his wife, Chrysanthi, got jealous and shouted at me, "Go back to Horiosu."
Thank you so much, Jill. Appreciate
It's been a
that.
pleasure to be part of this today. Thank you.
Oh, what an awesome reading you did. And, thank you so much for featuring. Next, we would like to bring back Zilka Joseph.
Hi, Chip. This has been just wonderful, and you are such a warm and welcoming host. I want to say a very special thank you, and loved your poem too.
Thank you.
So I'm going to end with a poem from my chapbook, Sparrows and Dust, which came out earlier this year. And as some of you may know, I write a lot about nature and birds, and of course, birds and animals are always metaphors for other things as well. Otherwise, we wouldn't be poets, right? So I'm going to read the title poem called Sparrows and Dust. And for many of you know Theodore Rethke's work. He is one of Michigan's great poets. And if you haven't looked him up, please do. There's a museum. His house is now a museum, and the greenhouse, which his father owned and grew mainly orchids, is still being preserved. So the poem has a epigraph from Rethke's poem Praise to the End. And it is, I believe in the sparrow happy on gravel. The first time I noticed a cloud of dust rise from the playground, I squinted my 6-year-old eyes and saw sparrows flailing about in gravelly dirt. My mother told me, look, they're having their daily dust bath. See how well they wash themselves. Such a cleansing, dust with dust, letting what's broken, biting, or dead flake off. I have always loved house sparrows, even when they drove us mad with their noisy fights and ferocious nesting inside our second-floor Kolkata flat, raining dirt, twigs, eggs, and just-born chicks on us when rival pairs fought for territory on tops of cupboards, chinks in clutter, junk stored everywhere. Our house was heaven and a kind of hell. Sometimes, when streaking in from the hot sun, one would fly into the fan's spinning blades. With a soft gasp, it would die at my feet. Sometimes, how it struggled, poor thing. I would cradle its head as blood seeped into my hand, give it water, whisper comfort. Often when I shut its eyelids, a vision of my own feathered body lying lifeless below would flash by. I hovered above, as if I have been somewhere else. Weeping, I willed them come back from the dead. Failed shaman, I never saved anyone or anything. My parents, the animals and birds we loved, the locked flat falling to ruin. Now, years later, in short Michigan summers, I look for flusters of dust, feel a warmth thrill in my aching bones when I see these birds squirm in soil, then spring from a cloud, fluffing, cheeping, cleansed, whole. I think of the little known tale I read about the precocious 5-year-old trickster Jesus who played by the river one Shabbat evening and who shaped 12 sparrows from wet clay. When his father scolded that he had violated the holy day, he clapped, shouting to the birds, "Remember me, you who are now alive." And the living sparrows rose and flew away. Thank you.
Oh,
Thank you so
wow.
much.
How beautiful is that? And
Thank you.
oh, wow, nice. And finally, we have Mr. Bill Batcher.
There we are. Okay. As writers, we're all intrigued by words. And I was reading a story recently, and the home was described as ramshackle. Isn't that a great word?
It is.
I began having visions of rams and ramrods and the damage they could cause. But then I looked up the etymology of ramshackle, and I didn't like what I discovered. Ramshackle, etymology, altered form of ransacked. What? How disappointing. I expected to find a depiction of an angry male sheep, his foot tied to a stud, pulling and clawing, bleeding and shrieking, gradually destroying his prison room, knocking lamps off furniture, pictures off walls. Or a sturdy fortress leveled by a battering ram, wielded by Viking marauders, mangling doors, toppling walls, grounding roofs, leaving in their wake a mere shack without hint of former splendor. Well, I, for one, am glad someone some distant time ago corrupted the tiresome word, perhaps at a large dinner party where a nearby derelict abode was under discussion, and either mishearing it with all the clattering of dishes, or misquoting it with a mouthful of shepherd's pie, giving it color, excitement, and possibility.
Wow.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. And once again, I'd like to thank you all for joining us here at Poetry Street and Poetry Street on the Road. On behalf of Maggie and myself, we wish you all happy holidays. We do want to thank our features, Jill Wilcox, Zilka Joseph, and Bill Batcher, and once again, all of you for tuning into Poetry Street and Poetry Street on the Road. Now, as a holiday treat, I do have one more person that will read, and her name is Alexis. And I met Alexis just this week, and she's just a wonderful lady, and I would love for you to hear her. Alexis on the iPhone.
Hi, how are you? Yeah.
Hi, there you are, Alexis. Wonderful, wonderful. And thank you so much for joining us on Poetry Street.
Thank you. This is wonderful. I just popped in the last 20 minutes, but I'll definitely come again.
Oh, awesome.
And it's wonderful to be here.
Awesome.
So, I could read my own poetry, but there's a woman that I became aware of and involved with who's Afghani woman she is a teacher of girls, and she's had a blog since 2013, and she's a poet. So I think I would like to read one of her poems because I think it's timely, and maybe in the future I could read my own poem, but I have to get it up on my phone while I am on camera, so I have no idea what I look like, but
Okay, no
here's the
problem.
poem. Okay, so it's called I Dare You. I dare you. I dare you to live the life that I've lived. I dare you to sing after me the poem that I sing today. I dare you to hold your broken pieces of your heart and walk with me. Come, live the life that I have lived. I dare you. I fear you. I fear you that one day there will be no more me, and all I will see is you. I fear you. Oh, how I wish I could never see, but I feel you. I feel you when I close my eyes. I hear the children. I feel them shouting, mothers screaming, bullets firing, humans dying, men bleeding. You are so terrifying. I hope that one day the plastic butterflies will turn into colorful butterflies where I play. I hope my childhood playing with the spent bullet could turn into dolls and flowers. The 20 years I saw no peace, but fake promises every day. I dare you. I dare you today to live the life that I live. By Aisha.
Wow, so beautiful. Thank you so much. Briefly, can you tell us the work that you're doing?
With her? Yeah, so that poem, I can share the link with, I set that poem to music, and I set a couple of her poems to music, and I feel like if you're going to do that, I'm a composer above all, really, a writer, composer. And if you're going to have the nerve to, put something to music, it should elevate it, or it should give it a perspective that's valid beyond its form being, a poem in itself. And I do feel, as objective as I can be, that the music took it to a place that's even more visceral and moving. And so I'm involved with Aisha and members of the New York Philharmonic, and we're doing a project called Imagine a Girl, and we're just using our art as activists to try to, shine a light on what's happening and actually bring forth some change, and not do it in a kind of like vanity way. A lot of times as artists, it's hard to feel like you're really making an impact, but I feel like this project has been very immediate to people, and hopefully it will inspire change.
Thank you so much, Alexis. And
Thank you.
Again, I want everyone to unmute themselves and give all of our features and everyone a round of applause. And just know that this Thanksgiving, I am thankful for the indigenous people of this land. And I'm also thankful for all of you here at Poetry Street, because you make my life better. Thank you all.
Thank you, Chip, for saying that.
You make our lives
you.
better.
Great
Thank
reading.
you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Everyone.
Great job, everybody.
Thank you so
Beautiful.
much.
Good
Thank
to
you.
see.
Be safe, everyone. Get vaccinated. Thank
Yes.
you.
Thank you, Chip.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you all.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye, thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Thank you all. Thanks, Colleen.
You're welcome, Chip.
Thanks, John.
Thank you. Loved it.